has not actually been released yet. We haven't seen it, but if the United States can use satellite images to track down terrorists and even build a life-size replica of Osama bin Laden's compound, why are we having such a hard time finding that missing Malaysian jet?
Bruce McIndoe, a former intelligence analyst, is joining us now. Bruce, thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people are going, we've got 26 countries involved in this search, and flights are going out, searching the areas on a daily basis. Why are we having such a hard time?
The short of it is, I don't think we really have a clue of where this plane is. And the world's a big place, and everybody's doing their best to look at it. But we're talking about millions of square miles of potential area to scan. It's huge.
So help us understand this and educate us on these satellite images and why they're having such a difficult time sort of pinpointing and identifying, you know, anything in this area. We see in news, of course, we have these satellite images of Osama bin Laden's compound during the Pakistani raid, where they're able to monitor people walking around in a courtyard. They're able to see who's coming and going. How is this different?
Yeah, so when you're talking about a compound, you have a known location on the Earth. And then as that satellite comes around, you take a scan, you see those images, you analyze them. It's very, very straightforward. But when you're going around the Earth and you have really no clue where on the Earth this plane is, you're now in hunt mode, and it's a very tough, especially in that area. You've got seas with white caps, you've got cloud cover, you've got a cyclone coming in. It's from a satellite imagery perspective, it's difficult to analyze.
It's also a portion of the planet that typically there would be not really any reason to watch, right? So you have to take these satellites that are up there, you have to take the assets that you have and focus them in on that particular patch of ocean, which, as you described, is huge.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times in this area, we're not even going to take, we'll take the images, but we won't process them because there's really no need. And so everyone's now focusing there. And when you focus there, you're going to find stuff because the sea is full of debris and trash. And this, I think, is what we're dealing with.
So, Bruce, can you break it down for us and all of our viewers? I mean, if you had these images and you were in charge of investigating all this, what would you do step by step?
Yeah, it's a lot of processing. Ultimately, what you're going to do is try to process these images to identify anomalies that are of interest. Whether you do edge detection to look for things that are straighter or the size to try to narrow down looking at the tiles or the images that are of interest. But then it takes time, and well, I love what Digital Globe's done with tomnod.com, where any viewer can go on and see and actually be an analyst and go on and look at these images and see what they look like, and you can actually participate by tagging objects. It's called crowdsourcing, and be part of the process.
I was reading some reports, and Bruce, you can shoot them down if you're hearing otherwise, but people were tweeting us the other day after that image that we just had up on the screen was made public by the authorities. People were saying, hey, on tomnod.com, that was pinned a few days ago. This was up there, crowdsourced. Other people were pinning it. So we need to be careful, of course, crowdsourcing, but if you have all extra eyeballs looking at things, that could help other authorities get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when you're sitting there trying to do millions of images, I mean, even if it takes a second per image, that could be 300 hours of duration. But if you have 1 million people looking at these images, you're going to be done in seconds, right? And the whole crowdsourcing thing is to get votes, like 5, 6, 7 people looking at the same image. You're going to get a better result than one individual.
What about scanning methods that don't require optics? I mean, what about radar sweeps or something like that? Is there any other way, short of physically looking at the image that comes off the satellite?
Yeah, unfortunately, in order for those, you've got to get close to the object. You've got wave action. It's very difficult to detect the debris in that water without being essentially right up on. I mean, we have airplanes passing over. We have ships that are out there trying to spot this right in the same neighborhood, and they're just not getting it. It's very, very difficult.
Fascinating.
Bruce McIndoe, former intelligence analyst, president of iJET International. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
When we come back, details on a major master